What's up guys, it's Chris Majestic, and a couple of months ago I had the opportunity to check out a few new cool projectors from Valerian. And unless you've been living under a rock in the home theater community lately, you've probably seen the buzz surrounding the new Valerian projectors, considering they broke the record for highest funded projector in crowdfunding history. And I've actually been testing the Valerian Vision Master Pro 2 for a few months now, so in this video I want to give you my thoughts on it and tell you if I personally think it's worth the hype. And I do want to mention that this is not a sponsored video. Valerian is not paying me for this video, nor are they having any control over what I say or put in this video, even though they did provide the projector for me to test out. Alright, so what is the Vision Master Pro 2? Well, Valerian's lineup consists of 5 projectors, which are the Vision Master Plus, Plus 2, Pro, Pro 2, and the Vision Master Max, which is the most expensive option. So as I said, I had the Vision Master Pro 2, and the first thing that stood out to me about this projector was its design. It has a really bold cube shaped with lots of chrome accents all around it and a polished finish. And even though it might look lightweight, it definitely has some heft to it, weighing over 15 pounds. On the front, you'll find the motorized lens as well as a few sensors which are used for its autofocus and auto keystone correction. The top has a far field microphone for the Google Assistant, LED indicators, and a switch to turn the mics on or off. On the sides of the unit, you'll find plenty of ventilation. The bottom has a single 1/4-inch hole for you to connect it to a mount, an adjustable foot which can be used to tilt the projector up or down, and 2 adjustable feet on the back of the unit. And behind the rear cover, you'll find all of your ports, which includes a power jack, optical audio output, a USB 3.0 port, a USB 2.0 port, 2 HDMI 2.1 ports, an HDMI 2.0 port with eARC support, a headphone jack, Ethernet port, and a power button. So the Vision Master Pro 2 uses the Texas Instruments 0.47-inch DLP chip to produce a 4K image. It has a triple laser light source that produces up to 3000 ISO lumens, which is roughly the same as ANSI lumens if you've never heard of it, and it covers up to 110% of the Rec 2020 color space. It has a 4000:1 native contrast ratio. It supports Dolby Vision, IMAX Enhanced, HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and HLG. It supports up to a 300-inch screen and has a motorized optical zoom with a throw ratio as short as 0.9:1. It has input lag that can get as low as 4 milliseconds, and of course my Team 3D guys out there will be happy to know that this thing has full 3D support. Okay, so I mentioned that there are 5 different Vision Master models, so you're probably wondering what's the difference between them. Well, here's a chart showing some of the key differences. The main differences are brightness, as the Pro 2 and Max versions produce up to 3000 ISO lumens, while the other versions are not quite as bright. The Pro, Pro 2, and Max also have an optical zoom, while the Plus and Plus 2 versions have a fixed throw ratio. The Plus and Plus 2 also have slightly less contrast, and the Vision Master Max is the only one that has a dynamic iris and vertical lens shift. I had the opportunity to see the Max at CES earlier this year, and it produced a fantastic image, and its lens shift was pretty significant, giving you some extra flexibility when it comes to projector placement. But no matter which model you get, they're all loaded with a ton of features compared to any projector at this price point. And when it comes to setup and installation, this projector is very easy to set up since it comes with a few features to help with this. If you're sitting the projector on the floor or on a table, you can use the built-in adjustable front stand, which folds out and allows you to tilt the projector up. Once you get it somewhat aimed onto your screen or wall, it'll automatically focus the image and automatically adjust the keystone for a good looking image without a ton of distortion. I personally think autofocus is something that every projector should have, as it makes life a whole lot easier. Now, these projectors technically fall into the standard throw category, even though the Pro, Pro 2, and Max versions can produce a 100-inch image from just over 6 feet away thanks to their optical zoom and lens design. This adds a ton of flexibility and makes them almost like a short throw, which is pretty rare nowadays. And since it has an electronic zoom, you can get that same 100 inches from as far as 130 inches away. That's a pretty big zoom range, which helps significantly with projector placement. And since it has a 1/4-inch mounting hole on the bottom, you can easily mount it on a tripod or upside down on a ceiling. So as I mentioned earlier, the Vision Master projectors use the Google TV platform, which is a great smart TV OS overall. It has access to all of the most popular apps like Netflix, Prime, Disney Plus, and Apple TV. You can use the projector's built-in microphones to navigate around the OS hands-free using your voice, or you can use the dedicated Google Assistant button on the voice remote. And the interface is nice and snappy with no lag, and I had no problem finding all the settings I was looking for, including picture settings and projector settings. And I think this this is the first projector I've ever used that has Wi-Fi 6E. This gives you plenty of bandwidth to stream pretty much anything without any issues. I connected it to the 6 GHz wireless band in my house, and I went out of my way to stream movies with really high bit rates over Wi-Fi, and I had absolutely no issues with stuttering or buffering, which is definitely a first. And when it comes to the included voice remote, I had no issues navigating around with it, and since it connects to the projector through Bluetooth, you don't have to point it directly at the projector to use it. It is a bit bulky, but it's comfortable to use. It's backlit and has all of the necessary buttons. It has a dedicated button for the Google Assistant, a few dedicated settings buttons, and app shortcut buttons to a few streaming apps. I will say that it would have been nice if all of the buttons were backlit, but once you use it a few times, you know where all the main buttons are. Alright, so enough about specs and design, let's talk about the thing you really came here for, which is image quality. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I had the opportunity to test this projector out for a few months now, and I can definitely say that this projector produces a fantastic image. With a claimed 3000 lumens of brightness, it had no problem producing a bright image on my 135-inch screen, and could even compete with a small bit of ambient light. The colors were bright and vivid, and had great color accuracy, and the image was razor sharp with great focus uniformity. To measure the maximum brightness from the projector, I put it in standard mode, set the color temperature to standard, and set the laser luminance to the highest level. With these settings, I measured an insane 3800 ANSI lumens, which is significantly higher than Valerion's 3000 lumen claim. I'm not sure if this is a juiced sample unit or what, but even 3000 lumens is more than bright enough for most home theaters. Now, technically the brightness enhancer setting is supposed to produce the highest brightness with its green tint, but my sample unit was actually slightly dimmer with the enhancer on, so definitely leave that setting turned off. And the Vision Master Pro 2 has 7 picture modes, including Vivid, Standard, Sports, PC Game, Energy Saving, Theater, and Filmmaker mode. And when it comes to HDR content, this projector also has dedicated HDR picture modes, including Vivid, Standard, Energy Saving, Sports, Game, Theater, Filmmaker mode, and IMAX Enhanced. It also has dedicated picture modes for Dolby Vision, including Dolby Vision Bright and Dolby Vision Dark. One setting I do suggest changing is color space. For some reason, when set to Auto or Rec 709, it leans heavily towards green. I'm not sure if this is a bug on my particular sample unit, but I suggest changing it to native and tweak your settings from there. But if you are into tweaking, this projector has a ton of adjustments, including 2 and 20-point white balance adjustments and full gamma calibration. And HDR content is definitely where this projector really shines. It does a great job with color reproduction, and it handled highlights and shadows better than most DLP projectors. And the dark scenes also produced great shadow detail. Considering how common it is for bright projectors to have a really high black floor, I was expecting mediocre black levels, but I was pleasantly surprised by its performance. It was able to produce great detail in dark scenes where other projectors would either miss the details or make the dark scenes look unnaturally bright. This is definitely a place where the Vision Master projectors stand out. In order to get the best black levels, you definitely want to enable the enhanced black level or EBL setting. This is going to actively dim the laser, which lowers the black floor and produces better blacks. And the EBL setting has 2 levels, which are low and high. High produces the lowest black floor and low is less aggressive. I found that I prefer the low setting in most cases, even though with either of these settings I could see some pumping going on certain darker scenes, which was definitely noticeable. But either way, it was able to produce great detail in dark scenes where other projectors would either miss the shadow detail or make the dark scenes look unnaturally bright. I suppose this is a testament to the great contrast from this projector. And speaking of contrast, Valerian claims that the Vision Master Pro 2 has a native contrast ratio of 4000 to 1 and a dynamic contrast ratio of 15,000 to 1. Now, my room isn't covered in black velvet, so it's not the perfect space to measure contrast, but I measured the native contrast ratio around 1800 to 1 with EBL turned off at its longest throw distance. This isn't quite the 4000 from the specs, but it's still pretty good. Now, I did get almost exactly 4000 to 1 with the laser luminance all the way down on a full black image though, so that might be where that number came from. And with the EBL setting set to high, I measured a dynamic contrast ratio of 13,000 to 1 at its shortest throw distance and 17,000 to 1 at its longest throw, so the 15,000 to 1 claim for dynamic contrast seems about right. Either way, the perceived contrast from this projector looks amazing. It might be the best looking image I've seen from a standard DLP projector. And if I haven't already talked about enough features for you, my 3D guys will be happy to know that the Valarian Vision Master projectors fully support frame packing, side-by-side, and top and bottom 3D formats. And the 3D performance in Avatar Way of the Water looked insane on this projector. The image was razor sharp, the 3D popped like it was supposed to, and the image was still pretty bright, which is nice considering you get a slightly dimmer image with 3D. Alright, so what about gaming? Well, in order to get the lowest input lag, you'll need to put the projector in game mode and enable the DLP turbo mode. And not only do games look fantastic with great brightness, contrast, and color accuracy, but I measured the input lag around 4 milliseconds with 1080p at 240 Hz, 9 milliseconds at 120 Hz, and just over 16 milliseconds at 60 Hz. These numbers are great for both casual gamers as well as heavy gamers who like to play first-person shooters, as long as you use the right settings. And when it comes to sound, you have several options. The projector supports eARC, so you can send lossless audio directly from the built-in streaming apps to your home theater receiver or soundbar. It has an optical audio output as well as an analog audio jack. It supports Bluetooth 5.2, so you can connect headphones or a Bluetooth speaker. It has WiSA support, so you can use it with WiSA-enabled speakers. And it also has a pair of built-in 12-watt speakers, which support DTS-X and Dolby Audio. And the built-in speakers sound pretty good from this unit. They produce more than enough volume, they have pretty good dynamic range, and I could clearly hear dialogue and sound effects in movies, TV shows, and games, even though it doesn't really produce that much bass. And when it comes to fan noise, I didn't really find the fans from this projector loud enough to bother me. Valarian claims around 28 decibels of fan noise, and I measured it between 31 and 32 decibels, even with a full white image, which is pretty quiet for a bright projector. So after testing the Valarian Vision Master Pro 2, I have to say that I'm impressed, but as I say with every product I review on this channel, no product is perfect, so what are the things I didn't like? Well, I honestly don't have any major dislikes with this projector, but there are a few things that I'll mention for the people who care. The first concern is the lack of mounting holes on the bottom of the projector. Considering how heavy this projector is, I would have liked to see more than just a single 1/4 inch mounting hole. Now, Valarian claims that there's a steel panel inside, which ensures that it's more than capable of holding the projector, and I don't doubt that they're right, but I would have liked to see more mounting holes just for more peace of mind. Another thing I noticed was a good amount of laser speckle. Now, I rarely see this on the ALR screen in my home theater, and it's something that a lot of people can't really see, but I did notice it, so I thought it'd be worth mentioning. And my last concern was the rainbow effect. Rainbow effect is different with every projector, and some produce it more than others, but I did notice it. It wasn't enough to distract me personally from enjoying the movies, but I know this is a big deal for some people. But other than those 3 minor concerns, I really don't have many bad things to say about this projector. So to answer the question, are Valarian projectors overhyped? Well, I can officially say the answer is no. The image from the Vision Master Pro 2 was stunning and rivals projectors that cost significantly more. Not to mention, this might be the most feature-packed projector I've ever reviewed on the channel. It's easy to set up, it supports all of the major HDR standards, including Dolby Vision and IMAX Enhanced. It has dynamic HDR tone mapping, it has access to all of the apps you can ask for, it's got eARC, 3D, and electronic zoom, autofocus, auto keystone, low input lag for gaming, and it's bright with great color accuracy, contrast, and black levels. I'm honestly not really sure what else you could ask for. Now, with a retail price of $3,000 is not what I'd call cheap, but if you consider the features and performance in such a small and versatile package, it's hard to argue with the price. Now again, Valarian offers 5 different projectors, and I'd venture to say that the Pro 2 might be the sweet spot. Of course, you can jump for the Vision Master Max for $4,000, which adds vertical lens shift and a dynamic iris, which adds even more flexibility. And if you think you need those features, I really wouldn't be mad if you spent the extra $1,000, but you really can't go wrong with any of them. So if you're wondering why there's so much buzz out there for this projector, hopefully this video cleared some of that up for you. But that's gonna pretty much do it for this video, guys. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, go ahead and make sure you mash that like button for me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.